Aedes aegypti, which is filled halfway with what we call infused hay water. Meaning we soak grass in water, collect that water, and we place the trap. It's on a paper. So that paper is laced with an insecticide. So when the female mosquito, remember that she lays her eggs above the surface of any container, whether wet or dry. So what she will do at that point is to lay her eggs on the insecticide laced paper, and she will pick up that chemical on her body and will transport it to other containers, because she doesn't lay all her eggs in one container. She goes on and on. So when that happens is that when the insecticide gets into the water, it will actually kill the larvae. All right, so the eggs will move on to the next phase, which is larvae, and they will die at that point. So that is a very good introduction by the Ministry of Health and Wellness in controlling mosquito population, in particularly Aedes aegypti. I also want to thank the leadership of Councillor Vernon in the Safe Food operation or the program, which will be targeting street food vendors. I know that in the parish we have been having serious challenges with vendor operations in terms of improper sanitation practices and behaviors. So I want to thank you for your leadership in this venture, and public health is definitely on board. We see what's happening within the public sphere where certain behavior or practices were highlighted. And just to say that St. James, we were on the ball from way before this. But this now will give us more traction to implement what we would have introduced. So thank you for your leadership, Mr. Mayor. And that's it for public health. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Any questions, Councillor Murray?
Yes, Your Worship. Your Worship, I'm very concerned today. Seems like my division is removed from St. James. And I've been forgotten by the solid waste and now the Ministry of Health. So I've listened to this, the fagging schedule, and the old one, not one of my districts run it. The new one I'm only hearing once. But I have concern with areas such as Lilliput, Greenwood, those areas. So I'm going to ask if I could be included, not me, but my communities could be included in the upcoming fagging schedule as well. Because I'm getting quite a number of complaints, especially in the Lilliput area, for fagging. So I'm asking that special attention be placed, and I don't feel forgotten, okay?
Mr. Chairman, we've heard the Ministry of Health share with us that dengue is a serious matter in the parish of St. James. Okay, with this information, have you seen where homeowners and residents in and around the city space are playing their part? Have you been seeing a trend of vigilance from owners, or are you seeing the opposite of that? I'd like to know if we are playing.
One of the things that we are also seeing is that the lack of running water piped into homes. So that caused persons to actually store water. All right? So the practices are there. They're cleaning their yards. They're trying their best to control their containers or manage their containers. However, the water distribution or lack thereof is one of the main cause of concern. And outside of the dengue outbreak, I hope that the municipal corporation will look into how to get more piped water into various communities, particularly the Cambridge and Maroontown areas.
Then, okay. if this being so, can you share your prescription for how water is to be treated for those who are storing water? Because naturally, yes, some places don't have water and they have to store water. So it is necessary for some people, even who have water, to store water for farming and a lot of other things. So I think it would be good to share some information with the public so they can know if we are storing water, this is how you do it. Because storing water is not a bad thing. It's necessary. So, you know, please. Yes.
All right. So the main focus is the 45-gallon and the 55-gallon containers, because persons tend to store more water. If persons are using the regular buckets, the 5-gallon buckets, right, those normally come with their own lids. So just to ensure that, don't leave them uncovered. So children, just get your family members involved. Okay, you know, sometimes kids tend to miss. So if a child or a family member uses water from a container, just remind them to recover the containers. And it goes also for the 55 gallons and 45-gallon containers. Some persons depend on the rainfall to fill these containers. So what we recommend is get a curtain, unused curtain, right? And just put it over the mouth or the opening of the drums and secure with a piece of cord. And that will allow the rainwater to come in. So each time you use, you just replace. Because what we don't want is for the female mosquito to have access to the container. So it's basically just covering the containers.
Do you recommend using bleach and other things to treat water or no?
So, all right, so using bleach is just to improve the safety of the water in terms of potability, right? It won't, when they drink the water, it won't cause any disease, any running belly or other.
So mosquitoes can survive in chlorinated water?
Mosquitoes, yes. 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 And then one thing that we need to know is that when the chlorine is added to the water, it dissipates easily, especially if it's in sunlight. So it won't, right, so it won't stay in the water. Right. So we don't want to, and then we don't want persons to be over chlorinating, which can also create another problem. All right? So the best practice at this time in terms of mosquito control is to cover your containers.
Thank you. Councillor Murray?
Yes, thanks again, Your Worship. I would have heard the parishes that would have been severely affected by the dengue outbreak. What I want to know from Public Health this morning is what the rate of for St. James, what are the figures for St. James, and if it's not too personal, what are the areas that you are seeing that the cases are more reported from within the parish? So what is our current situation as a parish, and what are the areas of concern within the parish?
All right, I will now yield to the medical officer of health.
You want to do the report at the same time?
Yes,
and then you answer the question.
Sure.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Lewis. Go ahead, Ms. Bailey, or Mrs. Doctor.
Okay, good afternoon, Your Worship, members of the Municipal Corporation, other agencies, councillors. So since the report would have been started for me, we'll start with dengue. So in terms of, in comparison to the national reports, in terms of what we're getting, we've confirmed 18 cases of dengue so far. Of course, that is not an exhaustive list in terms of persons, because not everyone would have come in for testing, not all cases would have been tested, but in comparison to the number tested, we are at 18 at this point. In terms of our population, we do not have the highest number. You have other parishes in terms of outside of our region that have quite a significant rate in terms of comparison to population, but not for St. James. However, this does not mean that we can be comfortable to say, okay, our numbers aren't as high. so we can relax. Of course, the importance of now, and I'm very happy that this discussion would have happened in terms of Ms. Lewis and sometimes Councillor Crawford and Councillor Murray in terms of highlighting that the importance of what it is that we need to do. Because the long and short of it is that if we do not have a vector to spread a disease, then there is no disease to be spread. And so again, it's important that we really understand the importance of making sure we decrease our breeding sites, and also if it is that persons are unwell, when it is that we need to seek medical attention. We acknowledge and we know that dengue is endemic to us, so every year we do have a few cases. Unfortunately, we are in an outbreak this year, and the major purpose or the major focus as we are in the outbreak is to, one, decrease the vector population, decrease the mosquito population, and that requires the help of everyone, Ministry of Health, stakeholders, residents, and in addition to that, to decrease the risk of severity of disease in terms of our population as well. So decreasing the risk of severe disease, and as well as decreasing the risk of deaths. And that is what our main focus is at this point. But it is important as we go through this outbreak. Our last outbreak lasted well over a year, so we are in the early phases of the outbreak, but we still need to be very, 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 very vigilant as we proceed. As we go along, we'll continue to keep you updated in terms of what our numbers are, but the important message that we want to bring forward is that we reduce the source and we also seek the necessary medical attention as needed, so that we can have, while we have the cases, yes, but we would prefer to have mild cases of dengue, definitely not severe cases of dengue. That's a major thing that we want to focus on at this point. Continue the report, or if there are any other questions?
Yes, continue the report and then we'll take the questions after.
Okay, all right. So in addition to, as we talk about dengue, and particularly we need to also remember that the Aedes aegypti also transmit, for us up until a few years ago, we did not have cases of Zika and chickpea, but those are also diseases spread by this particular vector. And so while we're monitoring for dengue, we also have to monitor for these other illnesses as well. Certainly while we talk about, since we're talking about mosquitoes, you know, we'd have discussed previously about the Anopheles mosquito, which is responsible for spreading malaria. We do not have any cases of malaria in country. We would have had occurrences of imported cases from time to time, but we would have eliminated malaria in terms of a few years ago. And so we work judiciously to maintain that. But again, the importance of removing the vector. And so that is, Ms. Lewis would have talked about in terms of some of the methods that will be employed in trying to decrease the risk from a national level as well. So we focus on that. In terms of other communicable diseases, COVID-19, of course, is still with us. We always have to be conscious of that. And particularly as we have started the month of October, which you know we are now in the flu season. Just to say, the flu vaccine is here. It is very much here, available at all our 22 health centers. So please, 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 make use of the opportunity to get our flu vaccines. The flu season usually lasts from October to May of each year, but especially during the colder months. I know Jamaica really doesn't have winter per se in comparison to other countries, but during the colder months we tend to especially see an increase in flu. Again, we anticipate an increase in COVID-19 cases as well. And we also tend to see an increase in gastroenteritis cases. So we just need to also be very, very vigilant as we enter the cooler months of this year. We're also keeping, in terms of monitoring for communicable diseases, hand, foot, and mouth disease, which we tend to see in our younger population, particularly under the age of 5. So we've been monitoring those diseases carefully as well. So we continue our monitoring at our port of entries for other diseases that are communicable but not endemic to Jamaica, and so that is very, very critical for us. In terms of non-communicable diseases, of course, we know that we always have to pay close attention to that. While we are looking at dengue and other communicable diseases, we still have to pay attention to our health. We would have had the launch of the Know Your Numbers campaign, which promotes screening activities in terms of persons knowing what is happening with them, not necessarily when you're ill and you have to go to the doctor, but just to know what your status is: primary blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, or BMI, weight, or waist circumference. It's important to at least know what these basic tests are, so basic numbers are, so then we can seek the attention that may get the medical attention as needed, or if everything is well, then we maintain and keep the healthy practices that will continue to keep us well. So in the midst of everything, we always have to remember that NCDs are silent killers, and we always have to be conscious of that, even as we look at other diseases. For this month, Deputy Mayor would have indicated that as well, that this is mental health. Mental health Day would have been the 10th of October, and this is actually meant we celebrate Mental Health Week. The entire month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's also Lupus Awareness Month as well. Coming up in November, it will be World Diabetes Day and Parent Awareness Month. So a lot of things that we have to focus on, but I just want to encourage us that health in general, mental health, again, the definition of that health is not just the absence of disease. It's mental, it's social, it's emotional, and so we all need each other to be able to remain healthy. And I'm want to express thanks on behalf of the St. James Public Health Services, so the partnership that has been given from especially the Municipal Corporation over the years, the support in terms of maintaining good public, in promoting the maintenance of good public health. So as we go forward, let us just continue to partner. Let's remember these major things as we go forward, and help to educate those around us as well. And just to remember that we're still in hurricane season, so on top of everything else that's going on, we're still in the hurricane season. We've been fortunate so far not to have had any hurricanes or storm, but we still need to be vigilant as we go forward. That's my general report for today.
Thank you very much, Dr. Small. Go ahead, Councillor Troop.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a question, Dr. Small. For the Granville Division, are there any one of those 18 cases of the dengue reported in my division?
So in the general area, yes, we would have had confirmed cases, but we're also seeing cases right across the parish as well too. We've not identified primary hotspots of the numbers, but we're getting spread right across the parish.
Yes, Chairman. The reason why I ask is because I think I've got information that Granville Division is one of the hotspots for dengue, and I saw on the schedule that Granville is a special retirement area for spraying. So that's why I asked, Your Worship.
Okay. All right, thank you. Councillor Cook.
Thank you very much, Chairman. You mentioned that earlier this week, the Parish Council, the Municipal Corporation, celebrated Mental Health and Homeless Day, Chairman, and Doc just mentioned that in her report as well. I'm just going to ask a quick question, Mr. Chairman, and then I follow up with another matter. While we acknowledge, were you a part of the acknowledgement, Chairman?
I was at the front of the entourage march.
Okay, very good.
Myself and Joshua Cummins.
And Councillor Cummins. Wonderful. Was Councillor Troop a part of the entourage, Chairman?
I don't recall.
You know,
I hear him listening to Valiant. So, but go ahead.
yes, and you know, his response is indicative of my observation, Chairman. You know, in July 1999, Chairman, one of the most despicable, inhumane, I think, there are no words to describe how bad, how wicked, how inhumane this act was, where over 30 of the street people in Montego Bay, Chairman, was rounded up, tied up with ropes, mouth gagged, pepper sprayed, herded into a truck like animals, Chairman, and shipped off to St. Elizabeth in the vicinity of a mud lake. As a part of the healing process, Chairman, there must be some, not only recognition, but there must be some acknowledgement and perhaps a public apology, Chairman, because my research tells me that my colleague, Councillor Troop, it was his administration who led this despicable act. And he was a part of the council at that time. And even to show support, Mr. Chairman, it is a shame. And I'm calling on the Municipal Corporation and the support of my colleagues to demand a public apology, starting with the minority leader, Councillor Troop. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor.
Mr. Chairman, I listened to Councillor Cook share with us what happened today. The unfortunate incident with the street people, Mr. Chairman. I felt like I was listening to a book. I was reading a book written by Stephen King. You know, it's such a sinister plot. It's really sad, Mr. Chairman. And I don't think that it is something that should be allowed to be swept under the rug. Mr. Chairman, those who forget their past are doomed to repeat it, Mr. Chairman. So I strongly support what Councillor Cook has presented here today, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
100%.
All right, thank you very much, Councillor Crawford. Councillor Troop, you wanted to say something?
You don't expect me to say anything. What my colleague, Councillor Cook and Comrade and Councillor Debo.
Oh, I didn't know Councillor Crawford crossed the
Make the
floor.
mistake.
No, but you see...
No, it was purposely done. It was purposely done. Mr. Chairman, there's nothing for me to... I just came into the council fresh, didn't know what does that mean. But what he said is something for us to think and it's something for us to think on. But it's not something to keep repeating, because every time you keep repeating the same thing, there's nothing for me to apologize about. It was a history in our time as councillors. I was the leader for the park then, and if it needs an apology, I think there are several apologies already been made. So bringing this up now, at the end, almost the end of this council, will not help you guys in retaining your seat.
So, Councillor Troop, are you distancing yourself from your former colleagues?
Mr. Chairman, I'm not distancing anything.
So you're with them?
I am saying to you.
Where are you, sir?
I am saying to you, sir, that it's not. They have gotten so much apologies from the Prime Minister level come down to the council. I'm not going to take responsibility for what something happened 27 or 26 years ago. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not taking responsibility for that.
It is that particular school of thought that makes the future dangerous. Because we have to know where we are coming from, we have to understand what happened, and know that we
Chairman.
should not repeat it. Councillor Coke, yeah.
I'm just going to say, let us take sleep, mark death. Because with the experience that we have seen with that administration, it would have been an indictment. And this parish, to have them have even a semblance of any form of leadership in this parish.
Thank you very much, Councillor Coke. Oh, Councillor Thomas, you want to say something as well? Participate in this contribution? But I saw him raise his hand.
Yeah,
so you
Mr.
see,
Chairman,
these are the things that I talk about. Go
Mr.
ahead,
Chairman,
Councillor
Mr. Chairman.
Thomas.
No, I mean, irrespective of what the debate is about, I mean, it's a reckless discussion by my fellow colleague. If he extend the discussion further, we should say, look at the high level of murder rates within our communities now. Look at what is happening in St. James. So should we say that it is really
We are
ridiculous?
discussing homelessness, Mr.
Yes, it's all part of it. It's life. Homelessness, life, everything, opportunities.
Okay.
So
you support more persons being homeless?
No, I do not support anyone.
So what
being
are you
homeless.
saying, Councillor Thomas?
No, I'm talking about his reckless statement regarding who should see the rhyme of leadership or not in
All he asked for was an apology, and I am befuddled that you're still bantering about the matter and can't bring yourself to an apology.
Mr. Chairman, issues like those which has had no man, they have one. They had
That's the attitude.
What you call a commissioner inquiry. So many things regarding the same issue. So for the councillor today, rather than moving forward, is going down a reckless path. And he's the one going down the reckless path, Mr. Chairman, and we should not facilitate that, because then there are so many things in our past that we are all as a people don't necessarily want to repeat or go back there. So we should, as leaders, as you said earlier in your statement, we should be looking at how we move forward as a people in the right way with proper suggestions. Okay, so let's not go down that path.
I suggested solutions, and
yeah, but let us not go down that path. And you should caution your colleague accordingly.
Councillor Thomas, I suggested, you can turn off the mic. I suggested solutions, and you can ask. And I mean, if you were there, on the day, you would realize that our partners came out in support of ending violence against homeless and abuse against the homeless. Prior to that, we met with the police and a number of our other players that deal with homelessness. And we devised a strategy to reduce the cases in St. James. So we are not complaining. We are solving the problems. Yes. Right? We are solving the problems. It is not convenient to cross the floor at this point in time, Councillor Troop.
No, wait a second. You know.
And you see, you deserted the administration at that time. I know you're deserting Kerry Thomas. I don't understand.
Mr. Mayor, you bring up something that is very important.
I want to.
You bring up something that is very important. Over the last 6 months, or it could be less, there were about 7 homeless people murdered in Montego Bay here. 7. I didn't hear you bring up that. 7 homeless people murdered in St. James. As a matter of fact, one is supposed to be, one of the person who murdered those homeless is supposed to be sentenced today. I never come to this council meeting and hear none of you raise that in council, that the homeless people are being murdered on a weekly basis. 7 of them.
So are you comparing the police report? Give me a second, Councillor Wynne. So is Councillor Troop comparing the police report that explain the relationship between the persons who were murdered and the person who carried out the act? Are you comparing that with what should have been a well-thinking local government at the time that did something similar? Is that what you're comparing, Councillor Troop? That is sad. And that is sad.
To me like it's what?
That is sad.
Are you
Mr. Chairman, a point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Councillor Wynne.
Mr. Chairman, on the point of order. Mr. Chairman, my point of order is that it is unfair for these 2 minority councillors not attending our meetings and when these things brought up to come here to say that they don't hear anything mentioned about it. Mr. Chairman, if we need a motion to put them on the outside for this meeting to conclude, let us have it.
All right.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr.
Mayor. I'm back in the seat now.
We want to just move.
Mr. Mayor. I am back in my seat now.
Hold on.
No, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Let us move on. Let us move on, gentlemen.
No, Mr. Mayor.
Let us move on.
I'm a junior councillor.
Councillor Troop.
Of just disrespect. A councillor who is here for so long as is mentioned. They must sit down. You're out of order.
Councillor Troop. All right. Point noted. Yep. You wanted to say something, Councillor Crawford?
I want to say something, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, and I hope that this whole debate ends. But I'll just say something. It is unfortunate that while the discussion about an administration that took up homeless people and carried them down to the mud lake is being compared to some madman on the street that was out there killing other madmen. Is that what you're comparing your administration to? If that is so, Mr. Chairman, I have seen it all. Yeah. You may continue with the meeting. Mr.
Thank you very much. Motion to adjourn the local board of health. Moved by? Seconded by? Those in favor? Those against? Local board of health adjourn. Municipal matters. Yeah. All right. So motion for the meeting held in September to be adopted.
And the meetings are Public Health and Sanitation Commercial Services Committee, for Relief, Finance Committee, Civic and Community Affairs Committee, Human Resources Management Committee, Infrastructure and Traffic Management Committee, Parish Disaster Hazard Mitigation and Safety Committee.
All right. Thank you very much. Motion, councillors. Remember to stand when you're moving a motion, please. I don't want to say you're out of order. Thank you very much. Seconder? Thank you very much. Those in favor? Those against? Meetings adopted. Building and subdivision matters. The mic, CEO, please.
Okay, so application for building permits, nil. Subdivision matters, nil.
Anything requiring a council seal?
Nil, Your Worship.
Notice or resolutions? Or resolutions from the last meeting, sorry.
Nil,
last
Your
notice,
Worship.
Any from any other municipal corporation?
Nil, Your Worship.
Notice? Any notice?
Nil, Your Worship.
Councillor Cummins, you have a notice for motion? Okay. Oh, your mic, CEO. Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Cummins.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I want to give notice at this meeting for the closure of
You serve a notice for a resolution?
yes, sir.
For the closure of?
Pine River Cemetery.
Okay, noted. Any other notices or notice?
No,
Correspondences?
Nil, Your Worship.
New matters? Any new matter?
Doesn't seem that way, Chairman.
Are there any new matters? Motion to adjourn? Please stand when you're moving a motion.
Seconded, Your Worship.
Those in favor? All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.